Beam me aboard. Energize.
Energizing.
Kirk to transporter room. Report.
You're listening to Transporter Room 3 with your hosts, Phil Perello and Scott Calora.
Welcome back, listeners, to another fine installment of Transporter Room 3. I'm Phil Perello. With me, as always, is...
Scott Calora.
And joining us, a special guest star.
Jim Vejvoda.
Who gets the DeForest Kelly as McCoy credit here.
That's right. I'm the grumpy older one.
Jim is a long overdue guest on the
Jim
podcast.
Is a long overdue.
Right?
It is so cool to have Jim on.
I'm the movies guy, along with Scott over at IGN, and big Trek fan. I've listened to several episodes of this. I would be lying if I said I've heard all of them, but I've known these two dudes for years. So
we've been through death and life together.
That's right. That's right. And I'm also a lifelong Star Trek fan of both the original series, a good chunk of Next Gen, and then I've seen all the movies, so I feel sufficiently prepared.
Absolutely.
Jim's the guy you want to have all the beers with to talk Star Trek with.
That's right. I'm a good listener.
So let's just mention that we are actually all together
in a Ford.
In
the USS Stax. I'm driving around.
So this is the first
mobile podcast.
This is the first time, Phil, you and I have ever recorded together.
Together, is it?
I think.
Didn't we do one in season 1? Sorry.
I don't know. I think
Jim, you've never recorded with us before?
Nope. I don't think so. Oh, or maybe did I ever do one little sequence?
I thought you did, man.
I think I did one. That was the So Hot Right Now podcast. That's
wow.
That's going back.
That's in the Wayback Machine right there.
That's right.
Yeah, I think we were going to record together at Comic-Con and we didn't, like a year ago or something. So I think this is the first time we've ever recorded together.
This is exciting.
And the first time Jim's been recorded with us.
So
here we are in Los Angeles, which is the birthplace of Star Trek.
Right? And naturally we're sitting around wearing our tunics.
That's right.
But nothing below.
Well, I'm wearing the scant.
Way.
We're going very...
I'm dressed like a yeoman. I'm here with my little iPad.
Beta Z wedding from the waist down right now.
There we go. Reference.
Do you know the scant from the Next Generation, Jim? In the first season, they tried to introduce this sort of skirt uniform thing, but the men would wear it also. It was like Roddenberry being
and then
like
the men
awkwardly progressive.
Men.
I don't remember that, and I'm glad I don't.
Those guys.
Thank you. Now I'm going to Google that shit when I get home.
This is why Shatner wound up in the Nexus for as long as he did, because he couldn't
escape the land where penises turned to dust.
So we're also recording from we're recording in a car. We're driving.
We're in Culver City.
We're in Culver City. We're driving in a car.
And while that detail might be kind of strange, it's also kind of strange.
But it is, as Phil pointed out, this is not the first time that we have recorded from a car. Phil recorded.
I did an episode around Christmas time last year from my aunt's van.
That's even more pathetic than drive around
I should
Jim Mobile.
Let me do the previously on recap for that one. I couldn't record in the cafe I was at because it was too noisy and I was getting weird looks. So I moved it into the van where it was quieter. But then
was it down by the river?
I wish. Then parking lot security showed up and it got really awkward.
It's on record. You can listen to the podcast.
It's on record. It's on iTunes.
It's forever.
So we're all together and we want to obviously talk about Star Trek, and we decided to dedicate this episode to our favorite Star Trek memories and moments.
It's a very special
episode. Yes. Jim's got a nice personal anecdote he wants to share with us. And we're just gonna riff off that, and we hope to hear in the comments section on the Facebook page what your guys' favorite Star Trek moments are. Jim, why don't you start? Why do you love Star Trek so much? What got you hooked?
All right. Well, my story is a little bit sad, but there's definitely good things in there. My dad is the one who introduced me to Star Trek. He used to, we of course watched the show on reruns. He had watched it when it was originally on the air on NBC. He was in the service in the late 60s.
That's cool.
And yeah, he was in the Navy, and they would show it at the base, and occasionally I think they got it on the ships or whatever. Maybe that's not accurate. But he definitely was a fan, so he introduced it to me through watching it on reruns as a little kid, and then took me to the movies. I remember him taking me to see Star Trek the Motion Picture, and I bought the little action figures so I could have, leisure suit action figures. That is really, that's what you want to play with as a child.
Wait, you the plastic ones or the
the actual,
full
the little
Barbie doll
plastic
size?
ones.
Okay.
Yeah, no, like the hand-sized
You
ones.
still got those?
No, I think I tossed them all when my family sold the house we grew up
Wow.
in. But so I was always a Star Trek fan, but I was also, obviously a child who, loved Star Wars. But the thing that really cemented a place in my heart forever with Star Trek was my dad was very sick, and he was dying. And even though I didn't quite realize that as a child, he took me to a double feature of, this is in summer of 1982.
Oh, shit.
And he took me to a double feature of Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, and The Thing.
Wow.
So those were and then he died about 4 weeks later. And so that was our last time going to the movies together. And we used to go to the movies a lot, and he would, he did he would go on business trips a lot, and he got to see Empire Strikes Back before I did, and he called me up from New York saying how awesome it was. Don't worry, I'm going to take you to see it. No,
Wow.
I just remember being like, how did you get to see this? And why did you go without me? So he was into that stuff as much as I was, but
That's
Star
great,
Trek
man.
2, knowing that, as a little boy, and the person who's like Superman to you, is the person outside of your mother who means the most to you, dies. The fact that Star Trek 2 dealt with loss and how to kind of cope with that,
Sure.
I definitely remembered that while I was mourning him.
Right.
And that movie has always stayed with me. The fact that it's actually just an awesome movie and a great
On top of all
story.
it, yeah.
Especially the older I get, now that I'm now 40, so the idea of Kirk getting older and kind of getting restless, I can really relate to more.
Yeah.
So the movie, just on a lot of levels, means a lot to me. But I also love Star Trek because of its ideas and because it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And I love the chemistry between the cast, and there's just a much more personal connection because of the stuff with my dad than I ended up having with Star Wars, which actually meant more to me as a kid. It wasn't until Star Trek 2 and that experience that I really realized that Star Trek could speak to me in a way that Star Wars couldn't.
Yeah.
And that it was actually about something. And I love Star Wars, don't get me wrong. I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying it doesn't operate on that sort of deeply emotional level that Star Trek can affect people on.
So Star Trek hits you in the heartstrings more.
It really did. I mean, I still, whenever I see the, whenever Trek 2 is on TV, I watch it.
Yeah.
It's one of those movies like
It just tractors you in.
Ghostbusters, Back to the Future, LA Confidential, Goodfellas.
Color
If
of
it's
Night.
on, yes, Color of Night. If
Baby's
that's on,
Kids.
Sergeant Bilko, the
Did
Steve
you just say
Martin movie.
babies, kids?
Yeah.
Baby's Kids.
Little Big League.
Little Big League, Baby Geniuses,
Blank Man.
the classics, pretty much the entire Damon Wayans oeuvre.
Which
but,
really exists.
It really does. I mean, Major Dad. Well, no, Major Pain. Major Pain.
Jim, we just watched that last week. How could you forget?
That's a
He has Major Pain on Criterion. If anyone
That's
wants,
right, yes.
If anyone wants the 9-disc set.
Where they had Terry Gilliam did the commentary about why it's his favorite movie. That one, yeah.
I have
that's
a
a
Terrence
really
Malick
nice
cut.
That's
Yeah, that's right. It's the part where Adrian Brody wasn't cut out of it.
Right.
Yeah. But no, I love Star Trek for a number of reasons, but because it is such a personal connection with me. And I actually had, I've met some of the original cast. I've met, because of the
You
benefit
met
of
Shatner?
this job, I've seen Shatner. I've never actually interviewed him, but I did
Okay.
get to interview Leonard Nimoy,
Whoa.
a fellow Bostonian,
Nice.
for the 2009 Star Trek movie.
Yes.
And we bonded over a lot of things, and I told him about seeing Star Trek 2 with my dad, and he was very touched by that. And he also loved, the fact that I was from Boston, and I asked him, how did you lose your accent?
And he slips into it.
Yeah,
Live all in prosper.
But I love it, though, like, he'll tweet out pictures of him growing up in the neighborhood and everything. And just, it's like, I cannot imagine Mr. Spock came from the part of town he came from. I'm like, that just blows my mind. But, I love Star Trek. I've been watching on Netflix season 3 of the original series, which gets a lot of flack, but it actually has some really cool ideas. They're just not executed that well. But, I love the idea behind Day of the Dove.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Yeah,
really
that's a
cool.
great idea.
I like the execution on that one.
Yeah, that way. I friggin' love Spectre of the Gun. They're in the Old West,
Spectre
and
of
they
the Gun
fight.
is one of the better three.
They in Savage Curtain,
Yeah.
and
Savage
I love the
Curtain's
one.
good
What's
idea.
the one where the female Romulan commander?
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, the Enterprise incident.
She's
That's a great episode.
she is amazing. She's fantastic, and I'm like, that needs to be a character in one of the movies. Like, bring her back.
Spock hooks up with the MILF,
she
the
was-
Romulan MILF.
But
right?
no, I thought that episode actually had a lot of interesting ideas.
Yeah.
And wasn't the Frank Gorshin one? Wasn't that season 3?
Let this
Be your last battlefield.
It might have been. I can't remember.
I think I feel like it was because
It's either 2 or 3.
because of Shatner's gut and his sideburn length.
Right,
Pretty
the side-
sure.
Yeah, season
if,
3.
if he has
what
the
happened
sideburns, yeah.
The time between 2 and 3, like what happened to
There was a
Shatner?
show. Well, one, the budget got cut, so I honestly think they couldn't afford that really cool toupee that he had in season 1, which looked fantastic.
Wait, he's wearing a
Wasn't-
toupee in 1?
He's wearing a toupee the entire series.
No.
Yes. He was. There have been actors that were on the show, like, they were shocked to see him pull up on his motorcycle bald.
Oh man.
Wait,
So yeah,
wait.
he was like
Shatner's
losing. Yeah, he had a toupee throughout the entire
Well,
I mean,
series.
I've heard rumors that he bald, but I didn't know he was bald.
I think did
Oh yeah, he was bald back
so
in
he's
the day.
rocking a Connery Dr. No toupee?
Yeah,
Because that's a great. I mean, Connery's toupee is awesome. I didn't.
yeah. You can tell Connor's toupee really went shit the bed come Thunderball, where they're just doing that like weird comb over.
And they just
toupee.
gave up, and Diamonds Are Forever.
They're like screw it, just staple gun the end of one.
It's like
Didn't Gene Kuhn leave after the second
Yeah,
season?
there was
Yeah,
a
maybe
showrunner
that's why
change, and that's
three,
why
I think that might have been.
Wasn't there a
part of the
writer
problem.
strike too? Like I thought there was
Maybe.
like a perfect storm of shit that took place.
I feel like
Perfect
right now
shitstorm.
I feel like where we're driving. I feel like we're in like the nerdy version of Judgment Night.
Oh, dude, I used to live right there. That was
Really?
I just moved out of that place.
Let's go.
No, this is cool little area. It's not that bad. Although don't follow us, Venice311 on Twitter, because you'll hear about all the homeless dudes getting roasted.
Now, speaking of Day of the Dove, Michael Ansara just died, right?
Yeah,
he
he's
was the-
pouring one out for Michael and Sarah. I have
We're
another
driving with
story.
Romulan Ale.
I have another story about Michael and Sarah that's kind of tied to my dad. Michael and Sarah is also part of something that made me fall in love with Westerns, which was this mini-series from the late 70s based on a James Michener novel called Centennial.
Oh, right.
And he was in the first 2 episodes of that as this Arapaho chief called
Of course.
Lame Beaver. And it was him and like...
I had a girlfriend with that name.
it was him, Richard Chamberlain, and Robert Conrad. And Ansara had this great line of, "Only the rocks live forever." And it sounded so cool. I don't think I quite wrapped my head around the idea of mortality and what it meant in that. But
Ansara, certainly, he achieved one of the greatest things that any man could hope to achieve in life, which was he was married to Barbara Eden, who was Jeannie
Oh,
on
good
I Dream
God.
of Jeannie.
he was also the voice of Mr. Freeze on Batman the Animated
Get
Series.
the hell out.
That's right. Yeah. That's
Oh, that guy
So
had
Michael
everything.
and Sarah pretty much paid his nerd dudes.
Yeah.
Nerd dudes.
Nerd.
dudes.
You got the bang genie.
Yeah,
That's right.
They were married for years. So, well, that's a really heartwarming story, though,
Yeah,
about
Jim,
your
that's-
dad.
Yeah, I'm sorry I brought everyone down on the
Don't
podcast.
be sorry,
way.
man. That was a very heartwarming story.
We really have now been through death and life together.
Yeah. And now we're gonna fire a Genesis torpedo right now.
That's right. You're going to start playing bagpipes? It's beautiful.
And
You know-
Jim's not lying when he says he's a little restless hitting 40 because we just decorated his wall with antique guns and Commodore 64s.
Antique guns actually sound like a really cool thing to get at this point. I'm not even a gun guy, and I'm like, oh man, I would love a musket.
Well, for
And
your
some of
next
those
birthday,
little like flintlock pistols, that shit would be awesome.
Why
we'll
are
get
we
that. We'll get a
celebrating?
Commodore 64. We'll get you some glasses.
Yeah,
Swing
there
by
you
with
go.
some blue stuff
There we
for
go.
medicinal purposes.
Yeah, unfortunately, it'll be the shit from the toilet bowl. But all right, one of you guys now. I've told my sob story. You guys explain why do you love Star Trek?
Phil?
You know, I think I've babbled about mine in the past, and I'll do it again.
You're blown by Romulan, weren't you? That's
Well,
you lost your cherry
To be
to
fair,
an Andorian.
Saavik is half Romulan, so
That's right. She's all Scientologist though.
She, let's just say we spoke in code, and 2 hours were 2 days. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
It went pond
See what I did
far.
there? It went on. I can't remember the exact moment I, got my nerd boner permanently for Star Trek. But I do remember it's centered around my aunt got me the Columbia House, 2 episodes per tape of the original series, and then Next Gen. And I would act out.
That's so nice of her to spend 6 cents a tape.
I know.
That's love. I'm kidding.
It was amazing. I would watch Where No Man Has Gone Before over and over again.
That's a good one.
And
did you know Gary Lockwood is still alive?
yeah, I seen him at Comic-Con.
Well, he was just at a convention like last week or
See, I
two.
thought he was dead for
I
like
thought he was
30
dead
years.
it was like, oh, poor Gary Lockwood didn't make it. No, he's still alive.
Just get him to say, "You better be good to me."
I'm sorry, I felt like
No, it's okay. I would.
I'm not jokingly.
I'm not joking. I would act out all of Kirk's fights, and I think that show helped me.
Did you have a stunt double though too?
Oh no, I did all my
You
flying
looked nothing
kicks
like
and,
it.
and Rigel death rattles myself.
Did you get the nipple slice across the chest?
I always wanted to tear my tunic, my shirt. Like my parents would never.
Is that what you called losing your virginity? I finally tore my tunic.
Eventually, that's what I did. And then from there, like I would like 82, like 86 was like probably like my real formative year with Trek because that's when 4 came out, and I turned my basement into the bridge of the Enterprise.
Nice.
I had cardboard boxes that I drew buttons on. I actually drew the buttons on printer paper and would like freeze frame the movies 2 and 4 to make it the bridge of the Enterprise.
Dude, my college roommate, I like found his dirty secret one day.
Oh,
He had a
where's this
photo.
going?
He was part of a group of people who dressed up in like the movie Federation outfits, the red jackets,
I've
everything.
always wanted
They
one of
had a
those.
full-size, life-size like replica of the bridge, and they would go and play
Role play?
Starfleet crew.
That's awesome.
Not when you're 21 in school and trying to get laid. It's not.
Well, it was a
They still have
secret.
who has
It was
the
a
bridge?
secret, though.
Who
He
got
kept
the
it-
bridge?
I don't know.
wanna be
Some
on this
friend of
bridge.
his had that. But I found his photo, and just to make it worse, his mom had permed his hair. He was an Asian kid, and he had his hair
That's the
permed.
best part of the story. You
And
should have
that-
led with that.
Well, no, that's the thing. Like, he was embarrassed. He had all this like spiky hair and stuff. He's like, he would complain. He's like, I'm an Asian kid, and she permed my hair.
Like Shatz.
But then he was
she-
like, yeah, but it was kind of like Shatner. I'm like, yeah, she didn't force you to perm your head, did she, Ron?
By the way, when you guys were younger, did you ever notice the perm? Like, it's
Yes.
it's not the same hair.
No,
from
I knew it was curly because it was just strange.
No, wait,
because
how do you
it
get
was
that
darker.
way going?
It's
Well, he had
so
a weave
weird.
or something because when he did the underwater stuff, it was a great like toupee. But you could. Here's the thing. I know too much about celebrity toupees. You can always tell the toupee because there's the fake widow's peak, or you can see the lace.
Right.
right, yeah.
And you know what? Here's a big tell in the day and age of wire image and everything, where they put out like 6,000 resolution high def photos online. You zoom in where you can see every pore, every freckle. You can see the fucking fake hair on these guys, like Nicolas Cage, Travolta, all these. It's like, give it up, man. It's out there.
I'm
Everyone
usually
knows you're
zooming
bald.
in on Shatner's junk,
like-
actually. So.
Jim's like the Zapruder of celebrity.
That's right.
toupees.
I'm the Abraham Zapruder. Back and to the left. There's the lace right there. I saw it. I know what I saw.
So that's big. Yeah, I mean that's my.
Yeah, so you would reenact the scenes. I've
would
heard this
reenact-
story
I
before.
didn't.
Yes.
Oh, you did.
did,
Okay.
yeah.
I would
I didn't do
reenact
that.
the scenes. I had a little Star Trek fan club with my friends. My one friend, Eric Willis, made phasers out of popsicle sticks
That's
for us.
awesome.
Oh, that's awesome.
And
It turns out you guys roomed together in college. You just didn't know it.
I wish I roomed with this dude that
Yeah.
Ron.
When did you-
I would have been
yeah.
on that bridge. And I've been
Hey, I'm
obsessed.
Facebook friends with him. I can make this happen.
I want to, please. I've Googled. My dream was to get the chair from 2. To find a replica, somehow make
Oh,
it.
wow.
And I've Googled and I've looked. Even when I worked at Paramount, I asked around and I've been unable to find.
surprised.
Wait,
those
do you want to
plans aren't out
reenact the Star Trek 3 scene where he collapses into his chair?
No, he
Oh, I
misses
did
the
that.
chair.
It does,
I did
yeah.
that
he,
all
fall-
the time.
he collapses in front of the chair.
That was acting, man. He found the moment
Oh,
that
yeah.
humanized this guy.
Yeah. Actually, I
It's
was
an amazing
just
performance.
for
man.
some reason. Oh, you know what? I texted you.
Shatner is
He
better
wasn't
than
supposed
people
to
give him
stumble.
credit for. You look at him in season 1, he's pretty good.
Yeah.
Shatner's
And he's
great.
funny. He's a legitimately funny guy. Like, Kirk's timing,
Is
Oh, yeah.
great,
kind of his reactions,
especially in 4.
People
Like,
forget how funny the old show was. Actually, yeah.
intentionally funny, not like incidentally
Yeah,
funny.
exactly.
If anyone out there knows of where to get that chair, please
I
let
can't
me know. I
believe
just
that the
wanted his
blueprints
furniture.
aren't online.
I
yet.
bet you
know.
it's gone. I bet you it got destroyed or something.
No, but I
Well, I
can't
mean,
believe.
just like a fan replica, like they have
Oh,
the original
somebody
series
must. Yeah,
chair.
yeah.
You know, like
Actually, I was texting you a week ago or so, right? Because I was up, like everyone had gone to bed in my house, and like I discovered Wrath of Khan on Netflix.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah.
And I was like,
Nemesis is also
I
on
was like
Netflix
4 a.m. or something, and I texted Phil. I'm like, man, the transporter sound effects are so crazy in Wrath of Khan. Like,
And they beam to the Genesis.
Yeah.
yeah, like they take the effects to a whole different level in that movie.
You gotta love. You guys both watch Breaking Bad.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I love that the bit where Skinny Pete and Badger are talking about
Oh, good gosh.
Yeah.
his
His
Star
fanfic?
Trek spec fanfic, and how McCoy knows that every time you actually are getting transported, you're technically dying. That's why he doesn't like to
It's
do
great.
it. That was great. That and their video game rant one was great.
Pretty awesome. But I guess like my little personal connection is like my father. He was the first one to introduce me to Wrath of Khan, and I believe it was ABC Sunday Night at the Movies.
Wow, that's
And I watched the VHS tape of that like nonstop, and I remember freaking out when I found out it was going to be on HBO in the afternoon, and I ran home from school and recorded it, and I still have the tape.
Really?
Was it
Still with me.
HBO when
It's
it
in my
was
apartment.
everything was introduced by Mason Adams? They had the
Yeah.
old guy.
It was like
They would show the same 5 movies over and over. It was
A little
like Don
bit, yeah.
Knotts, Tim Conway, and Private Eyes, FX, and War Games. All fine
Yeah.
movies, but you know,
then
it's
Weekend
the
at Bernie's.
same shit.
Yeah.
Every 2 hours.
And that actually, speaking of the ABC broadcast of Wrath of Khan, we had a listener who emailed us
Right.
months ago. Maybe Jim, maybe you can answer this question. We were never able to come up with an answer. He remembered, because you know the broadcast versions would have slightly different versions back
Yeah.
then, like Superman 2 and
Yeah.
and he remembered a scene at the very end, right before the Enterprise warps out when the Genesis device is about to explode. That Khan he's dying on the bridge, and he says, from hell's heart I stab at thee, and that he has a moment. You see him. There's an added shot in the TV version where he has a moment that he realizes the Enterprise has escaped. So it's almost like Khan he's
been crushed,
Yeah,
totally.
and that's not in the version of the movie that we
I
know.
know,
But
yeah.
do you remember that from the broadcast version? Does that sound
No.
familiar?
Didn't he send us a clip of that? somewhere
It's
on
got to
YouTube?
be buried
Well, it
on
was
YouTube somewhere.
The clip that someone dug up a clip, but it
That's
was
not that?
it was a fan made kind of thing. It was
Yeah.
they recut the film in such a way.
Lord, no.
It wasn't so
You know, I bet you if you, because a lot of these are posted online, a draft of the script might have a moment like that. in
Yeah,
there.
that's
Like,
true.
You
That's
know,
a
I'll
good
check it.
one.
I have the script.
Yeah.
I was just reading Star Trek 3 today, actually, the script.
Goldman.
Star Trek 3 is underrated, I think.
It's the best odd-numbered Trek.
Yeah.
It's better than Generations.
Our colleague Eric Goldman, he just gave me a special present while I'm visiting here in
Oh,
LA.
gee, now.
It's he gave me a Savick. He gave me the novelization of Star Trek 3, which
I have that.
I have read it. I read it like when the movie came out.
I read Wrath of Khan in that.
He's had it since the movie came out. He said that
Holy
back
balls.
when he was a kid, he would go see the movie and then buy the novelization no matter what it was. And
I had the Batman novel.
You know what
you really?
You know what I would do is, and this is I think where my interest in screenwriting came in. I would get the comic book adaptations of the movies,
too.
and then get like a ledger book, like a journal, and write my own novelization, basically of the movie, and draw my own pictures at the bottom of it. And that was I did that for Star Trek 3 and 4. I don't think I did it for 2, but I definitely did it for 3 and 4. And it was great. It was like training myself how to think kind of visually and stuff.
I still do that.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. I used to do stuff like that as well, actually.
I have the novelizations from 2 to 6.
Oh, wow.
And 6, I
Look at
think,
that
was
chihuahua.
the only one I read from cover to cover.
Look at him.
Sorry, we're distracted by an adorable dog. Hey, doggy. He's about the size of a tribble. Cute little chihuahua.
I don't think I was reading. See, as we've said before,
His
I'm older.
mom's pretty cute too. The driver.
Yeah, and she does not want to look
Yeah.
at us.
We should probably tell her we're podcasting about Star Trek.
Then she'll really groove on us. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Even the dog would shy away at that
Would
point.
just pee on us.
I don't
it is
remember
kinda
reading.
hot.
I don't think I was reading like the Star Trek 5 or 6 novelizations.
I remember reading some of them, but 6 is the one 6 came out before the movie.
Okay.
And I read it in like 2-3 days. I read that very quickly.
Okay.
And
but did you
spoiled
feel?
it for me.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about spoilers and stuff because the
Yeah, I was
comic book
11.
adaptations
I didn't
come out earlier too.
Yeah.
I have the Star Trek 6 comic book adaptation,
Yeah.
which is awesome. I was always bummed though, because there'd be scenes in the comic book that were in the movie, and I'd always get, that's not in the movie, that's not right, you can't do that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that would freak me out. Yeah, it didn't sit well.
Yeah, and now I understand that they had an earlier draft.
Yeah.
And we're just going off like
Right.
concept art.
Exactly. Yeah.
But,
I wanted the most linear experience possible.
Right.
I'm not sure that. I mean, we have talked about this before. I can't remember what bullshit reason I gave for being into Star Trek, getting into Star Trek last time we discussed about this. But I mean, like you guys, you're mentioning your dads. My dad's not a big movie fan or a big sci-fi fan, but I do remember him watching Star Trek, the original series, on WPIX, like the local.
Oh, I know that's it.
Cool network.
Yeah, local TV station.
New York station.
New York station, yeah, and he it would be like a Sunday afternoon, and Star Trek would be on, and he'd be watching it, either that or like Mission Impossible, which
Yes.
with Nimoy as well, so I would kind of watch it with him, but I wasn't that into it back then. I was pretty young, and a lot of it freaked me out, and the creatures and stuff, like it didn't sit well with me.
Damn.
But it stuck with me to some degree as well. And it wasn't until later in sort of high school, I think, that I started to really get into it. And it was around the time of Voyage Home, which was the real crossover movie. But no, I mean, I was into it before that, because I remember my dad took me and my sister to see the motion picture, and we were pretty young to sit through that slog.
Still
and I
be
remember
there if you didn't go by yourself.
Right, yeah. And I remember after it was over, we walked out of the theater, and I didn't understand what had just happened about
Yeah,
V'ger,
I
and my
didn't
dad was just shaking his head. He was like,
I used to watch one all the
V'ger.
time.
Yeah.
It's like, I love that wormhole sequence.
Yeah. I mean, it's got cool stuff.
I mean, you got to realize too, for parents back then, like all you had to go on were maybe the coming attractions if you saw it, or maybe a TV spot.
Right.
So, like my dad taking his then 6-year-old son to go see Star Trek: The Motion Picture,
Right.
and it being just basically 2.5 hours of sci-fi travelogue.
Yeah.
He must have
didn't know,
been like,
Yeah.
trying to introduce my kid to something
Yeah.
cool, and it's
Yeah.
just like
My wife told me to get out of the
It's like,
fucking
here-
house for 2 hours. I didn't know I
Here,
was
you want an action figure that goes, okay. Now I like it. Okay. There you go.
I think part of my Star Trek thing also came like in high school when I was like making like Super 8 movies, pre-film school kid kind
Nice.
of thing. And I remember we were trying to make a Star Trek movie of our own with, we shot a lot of it. The film never was finished, but we shot sequences, and like I did all this artwork that we were filming. Like the spaceships were all sort of hand drawn.
That's awesome.
Stuff.
Did you consult ILM?
ILM, yeah. I'm
you have
still
enough
waiting for them to
money
get
for
back
that?
to me on that, But yeah, and I don't know. I'm a little older than you guys. Around that time was right when Next Generation was then just launching as well, like a couple of years later. So it was kind of like a progression for me.
Do you remember the sort of the anxiety amongst fans? Because I do, because I used to read Starlog a lot and all that.
About
Yeah,
Next
I
Gen.
read
About
Starlog
Next
too.
Gen and the idea. I still
Yeah.
remember reading Starlog where they had the headshots and the announcement of casting. And I'm like, I'd never heard of any of these people. I maybe had an inkling of Patrick Stewart because he was in Dune and Excalibur, but I really like Jonathan Frakes. I still remember Brent Spiner's headshot. and
I can picture all those headshots.
and just being like,
Gates McFadden was
Like-
called Cheryl McFadden back then.
Yeah.
For some
Really?
reason. Yeah.
and then like even the description of Data, I'm like, oh man, they're just trying to do Spock in reverse or something,
Yeah.
not being impressed by it at all.
I remember being bothered by the fact that they kept saying it was like the first Android ever. I was like, well, what about fucking the guy?
What about
down
Roger's androids that he made? What are
Yeah.
little girls made of?
Yeah, right. With Brock, was his name Brock?
Brock.
Yeah, and that was just one.
Or was
and
it
then
Rock?
the-
I don't remember. It was
guy-
Lurch from
it
Addams
was Lurch,
Family.
yeah. And then
I think it was Rock.
I think it was Rock.
and he holds the giant rock phallus.
I wonder if
at one point.
Airplane 2 takes Rock from that, because remember, because Shatner's in that, and then they have the autopilot, and you want me to blow rock and all that.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty obscure.
Good
Yeah.
reference to Airplane 2, the sequel.
Yeah, there we go. Shatner, fantastic in that as well.
So we should we probably should start to wrap things up, but do
Favorite-
we need to do a what?
Let's do our favorite Star Trek moment, either from original series or from the movies. Let's
Okay.
wrap it up with that.
Look, everyone says the death scene in 2. It's definitely one of mine, but I gotta say, moments that stay with me are
Kirk's death in Generations.
the Ceti Alpha Eel scene from 2.
Yeah.
Right.
There's a movie that'll never make you want to like go fishing again, because you'll look at worms and be like, fuck that. But I also, I love, there's so many moments from the original series, but probably Kirk at the end of City on the Edge of Forever.
Let's get the hell out of here.
Yeah, there's just so many
Well
great
played.
moments in there, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
And also, again, I have a lot of season 3 things I realize that are probably guilty pleasure stuff, like, Kirk and Abraham Lincoln and Savage Curtain.
Oh yeah, it's great. I love how Kirk has a hero. It's like
Right.
like
But we all know who his real hero is.
And how Kirk
John
knew everyone's
Collins.
dad at the academy.
yeah.
Like, Kirk must have spent about 20 years in the academy, because he knows
Everyone's
everybody.
father.
Yeah.
And their brother.
And their mom. Oh.
He helped kill half. Yeah, he screwed half of them and he killed the other half.
Yeah.
Can you imagine, like if Kirk got called to the equivalent of the guidance counselor at the academy, like, hey Jim,
Yeah.
you know a lot of folks. People are talking, man. Like,
My God, man, that was my wife.
Well,
what happened on the Farragut exactly?
yeah. Let's get down to the
Because
Farragut business.
shit got real. There's not one captain's log about you, son. What's going on?
Yeah. By the way, none of that happened in the Abrams universe, right?
Yeah. I want that in the third movie, then. I want some sort of, like, if you would
I want
only
his
stay
Finnegan.
with... Yeah, where's Finnegan?
So, what about you, Phil? What
Oh
do you?
Jesus, this is Sophie's choice.
It's the unanswerable question.
Well, Wrath of Khan is very special to me. It's kind of hard to cherry pick that, but the moment I always go back to, for some reason, is Kirk after defeating Khan with the prefix code.
Oh, that's a great one.
Sulu says, "You did it," and he just snaps on him.
I did nothing.
I did nothing save for get caught in my britches. That is Kirk coming down a few pegs.
Yeah.
Which you'll never see the Chris Pine Kirk be able to do.
I saw a little bit of that in Into Darkness when he turned back, helpless, and said, "I'm sorry" to his crew.
That's true.
No, they were gonna die.
That's a good one. Yeah.
I
I want more moments like that. Man.
Yeah, that would have been great. And another moment I always go to, just because Nick Meyer called it out. I read in an interview when Kirk says, when he's talking to David, and Kirk says, "I know nothing."
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
that's when Kirk becomes a man.
Yeah.
That's when he arcs.
I think I gotta say, I
That's
think
very
Star
powerful.
Trek 2 made it seem romantic to me to find out you had a son that you probably didn't know you have,
Right.
and then you basically didn't have to do any of the work of being a dad, but you could show up when they're 30 and be like, "I'm very proud to be your son."
Such a beautiful
After these
moment.
last 2
Come
hours
on.
of
It's
risking
the-
our life.
It's the
you
first
know.
time David's nice to his dad
Yeah,
as well,
and-
right? I love, you know what, having just watched that again the other night, I love the part where David he's actually got some of his dad in him because
Yeah, the
because
perm.
he's got the perm for sure. That's why they gave Shatner the perm, right? Just to sync him up.
That's what David-
But
I
but
knew
when
it, you son of a bitch.
when they first meet up down in the
Genesis cave.
in the Genesis cave, I mean, David. What does David do? His first thing is to attack these
Yeah.
Starfleet guys, right? I mean, that's
Yeah,
like
'cause
it's
he
like
hates them.
yeah, but it's like this sort of impulsive Kirkism, you know?
It's very true. It's
and he
very
goes,
Kirk.
you know, and
I mean, basically what David did with the Genesis planet too is like something he cheated.
yes,
That's right.
that's true. Yeah,
Sabat calls him out.
and then I love how he goes,
Just
you know,
do this
she-
like all the time. Like, can we just get paid to drive around Jim's car?
Yeah.
and talk Star Trek? Does anyone want to like subsidize us?
We're
Rich
like,
listeners?
like how gangsters roll around town looking to like, take care of business. That's what we're doing, except we're not making pickups.
right?
No,
We're
we're
just driving
care of
around
a
talking
different
about
kind of
nerd
business.
shit.
So, but in that same scene, David says to his mother, he says, you know, they killed everyone. Like he's something
No,
to
they
that effect.
didn't.
And she's like, of course they didn't.
You're
Like
just making this harder.
yeah. It's like, and it's just
Actually,
it's
it's
just
much
such a
harder than you think,
and
Doctor.
I feel like they just built like Nicholas Meyer and whoever wrote Jack Sauer, whatever his name is, whoever wrote that film,
Yeah.
they build this like weird, this really dysfunctional family dynamic very quickly. Like I really believe the
Right.
the interaction between the three of them at that point.
And they
You know,
don't
like
fuck it up.
like Carol understands. She totally gets that her
Right.
son is pissed at her father, but she also knows Kirk's a good guy. You know, and
Yeah,
like
he's a very good man.
And also, David is an adult and a professional.
right.
He's not just like, now he would be, they'd make him a friggin' sulky 17-year-old.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
Or
yeah.
a daughter.
Yeah. So, basically, everyone's got happy memories of
Yeah.
how they...
I think my other favorite Star Trek movie moment, if I may indulge, is waiting in line to see a sneak preview of Star Trek 6 with my dad and my aunt.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, I just remember being really super excited, probably annoyingly so to the adults. And right before the movie started, the local Star Trek fan club, and it bothered me to no end, they come running down the aisle, faking phaser blasts and shit. Okay, we got the theater secure, and it was an awkward Bumblebee type of thing. And the thing that bothered me the most is that they were wearing next gen uniforms.
Inappropriate.
And I remember
idiots.
going pure comic book guy, like, no, this is not the.
They should have been executed at that point.
Yes, no, excuse me.
Your continuity is wrong.
See, I actually, that's funny because I saw Star Trek 6 in the theater with my mom, which is really sad because
Oh, that's fine.
well, I was an adult at this point,
That's
and I had
fine.
no one. I think I had just gotten out of college at that point.
All right, well,
and
now
I
it's
was
starting
back.
to get sadder.
I was back. I had to move back home.
Did you know Ron? Were you his?
should
Were you
Ron
the
was
relief
there.
weapons con officer? Like,
And I had no one. I had no one to go with. And my poor mom went with me because I had no one
Science
to go
officer
with.
Kalura over here,
yeah,
But my mom, she had the time of her life, so
laughing at
and
you.
she owes it all.
She was like, "This is my kid.
And she owes it all to
spawned
you.
this guy."
Boom. See what I did there?
we have to before we finish. We have to do a red shirt though.
We
and
do.
and this is off the cuff because we haven't. We always do a
What's
red
the red
shirt.
shirt?
Red
Red
shirt of
shirt.
the week. A fatality that.
Can I mention one?
Yeah.
Yeah, go.
Okay.
We take this time to remember those who have laid their lives down for Starfleet. This is the Red Shirt of the Week.
If it's
Hopefully-
one we already covered, don't give him shit, listeners.
Yeah.
Sorry guys. I again newbie.
Don't make it Hemdorf.
Red shirt of the week. I would say,
You got one from season three?
sometimes there weren't always the red shirts. There were also those like engineering dudes who walked around in like their bathrobe
kimonos?
things with the black
Yeah.
shirts underneath.
Yeah, that's right.
Like
yeah.
there's always like some poor transporter chief asshole who would buy it. Red shirt of the week. Do you guys each pick one?
No,
No,
just
we just
one.
do one.
Just one.
Oh, okay. Shit. Now the pressure's on. All right. Red shirt of the week. I would say the guy who. Do they have to die?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I was gonna pick the guy from the gas monster one. All right. Let me pick a different guy.
Well, a couple of them.
Oh! The one in Day of the Dove. There's a red shirt dude. They get in the fight in the hallway, and he gets stabbed with like the sword, and they have to
Stabbed
pull him
with a
back.
sword?
Yeah, by one of the Klingons, and they have to pull him back to
Yeah.
the elevator.
Oh, it's quite a dramatic
and McCoy,
scene.
And McCoy gets all angry because the fucking light monster thing is like making him crazy, and he's like, they're hacking him to pieces. I'm like, you got stabbed in the stomach. He's not really getting hacked. I mean, it's tragic. He's gone.
I
But
remember that. It's a great scene. Like they back into the turbo.
yeah,
lift,
yeah.
right?
They, like it's the
I'm
only
gonna have
time
to
I've
watch
seen
Dave
Kirk
the Dove
really
tonight.
retreat.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, that's right. Yeah, David.
So yeah, that's my red.
remember this
He's
one
on the far left, and they have to pull him back.
good one.
That's
All
a
right.
great.
That's
All right.
Better than our last three.
See?
Well done, Jim.
Would-be haters suck it. I'm a
Well,
real
this
trucker.
has
Jim's
been
like
great.
the Saul Goodman of this show.
Yeah,
You bring him
man.
on and everything gets better.
That's right, and I launder your money, so that's fantastic.
And he keeps wearing that flight whatever pin like a year later.
But my horrible comb over.
Is that what the pin is on
Yeah,
Saul?
he's- Saul's
The
just-
Q's flight that went down?
Yeah. He's always wearing it. He's the only one. It's a year later, and he's still just.
Was it this? It was Q who was the pilot. John Delancey
Yeah.
was the pilot.
Oh, by the
right?
way, John Delancey, I saw him and Anna Gunn in a play here in Los
No
Angeles.
shit.
That was written by Alan Alda, and it was about Madame Curie, and it was awesome.
Oh yeah, I just heard all
John
the
Delancey played the Monsieur Curie, and she played Anna Gunn.
Okay.
She played Skylar.
Played Madame Curie, and she was fantastic.
Yeah,
amazing,
I just heard Alan Alda
To
on
see
NPR.
John Delancey on
he's like
stage,
he's
yeah.
really
That's
into he's on Curie's tip lately. He's like I think he's also writing a book about her or something.
Yeah, Alan Alda was he did a fantastic job writing. It was really one of the better plays I've seen.
I would
Alda's
love
really
to talk to
quality.
Alan Alda,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, you can actually get the play. You can buy them online. I read a lot
Really?
of plays too.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a great play.
That's awesome.
By the way, that's the second Alan Alda reference today between you and me because you when we were saying goodbye earlier, you said that you were going to leave the MASH.
Yeah, I was going
goodbye
to spell out goodbye in rocks and not actually say anything.
Slow clap.
My Uncle Vinny, and yes, I have an Uncle Vinny, looks like Alan Alda, but talks like Yogi Bear. He's fantastic. I love him. That's a shout out to Vin.
That's
Well,
awesome.
this was great.
It's a good podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This
And
went much.
We kept.
yeah, I mean it was a potential disaster, right? When we
Yeah.
got in the car and decided to drive
This went so
around.
much. I only want a podcast from the back of Jim's car.
That's right.
And the cops didn't even pull you over this
What?
time, right? Yeah.
Phil, the things that have happened in the backseat of that car, what you're sitting on right
I
now.
know. If I could take a black light to this, it looked like
You-
that first crime scene from Basic Instinct.
That's right. I was saying, Kirk got off before he got off.
Kirk would
Johnny,
be proud, right?
what was his name? Not Johnny Bravo. Johnny.
It wasn't Johnny Olo. No.
No, it was Johnny. Oh shit! Now I'm gonna have to go home and look this shit up. But yeah, it was the Johnny Rockstar guy.
So next episode is number 50,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah, I think we're gonna.
Just like Kirk, you're turning 50.
Don't
Star
mince
Trek
words.
too.
why are
Jim,
we
what are you mailing me?
why are we treating your birthday like a damn funeral?
That should be your strap line on the podcast right
That's
up.
true.
Why are you treating this birthday like a damn funeral?
I say, Scott, whatever the topic is, which is top secret, mostly because we haven't figured it out yet. But whatever it is, I say I put on my cool future robe and really tight pants,
Yeah.
and you show up, and we just sit in these quasi-future deck chairs before a fireplace framed by antique guns, and we just have a fun time.
Okay.
If one of you
I'm gonna
guys,
fire up the Commodore
I was
64.
thinking that-
one of you put your Katra in the other one, should one of you depart this world
Right.
sooner than the other?
I was thinking that I was going to wear the Ilea robe, and you can wear your
Bastard, you always gun for that one.
yeah.
You never let me
You can
put
wear
it
your
on.
pajamas, and we'll go for a tour of the what is that? The
I would say
the
Persis Kambata
recreation
looked-
deck. Right?
She looked pretty hot with a bald head.
Yeah.
She was one of the better looking. She had a great head for a bald person.
Yeah.
I think we should just do radio and reenact. We should reenact the death scene from Wrath of Khan. But I'll put on my Shatner accent. I'll do my Shatner impersonation.
I'll just do Scotty. He's all discombobulated.
He's dead already.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what you guys could do?
Radiation.
The 50. It's the 50th episode. Do 25 little things from each of you about Star Trek, even if it's just a quick list.
Wow.
That look he gave in that episode. This from
That's
that.
a good idea.
Fucking Jim spinning out
Yeah.
pearls like
Right?
a fucking
And
breath
right?
dispenser here.
We've had a lot of good suggestions.
like-
The listeners have dropped us a lot of good suggestions
They
as
have.
well. Yeah.
Star Trek rhymes.
You know
and
what I
shit.
would love to do, and I know Jim's a
Do
very...
the kids still say that? I don't know.
They do. I know you guys are very busy, but I would love to do sometime where like the three of us do our own little commentary over a movie.
Yeah.
Oh, that
that'd be
would
I'm not
cool.
saying like a riff tracks, but you know,
It has to
like-
be Trek 5 though. It's
Okay.
gonna be the one that lends itself most.
Yeah.
I see your Trek 5 and raise you 1 Insurrection.
Oh, dude, I cannot. That movie should be called Star Trek Story Erection because that shit is just painful. I cannot. Insurrection is worse than any of the other ones. It's
Worse than Nemesis?
Worse than Nemesis. At least has Tom Hardy.
That's fair.
You know, Insurrection.
I think
It also
you-
has a ship
bored.
crashing into another ship, which is kind of cool.
No,
Yeah.
but as you said about Insurrection,
And it's got Ron Perlman.
Insurrection is like so forgettable. I think that's one of
Yeah.
the problems.
At
with
least I
Insurrection.
remember moments from Nemesis.
what's-
I remember as cheesesteak as it is. I remember B9. And is that a man standing behind me with a Christmas tree? No, that's just a.
That's
sorry.
before.
Yeah.
I
But
was just rewatching Insurrection the other night, and yeah, we couldn't get very far into it.
see, now I'm gonna
Yeah.
have to watch
And
it again.
It's painful because it's Michael Piller, and he's
Yeah,
Wasn't that one of the last ones he did?
It's the
Before
I
last
he
one
think
he
so. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
he's
man,
so
that's
strong
terrible.
though, with his sense of story, and so passionate about it. It's just it's sad that went off the rails.
F. Murray Abraham too.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck that guy. He's terrible in that movie.
Yeah.
Such a ham.
Yeah.
Look, he was. He'll always. I loved him in Amadeus and as Omar in Scarface.
You know,
And he's on Homeland now. So
That's right.
you know.
that's right. Yeah. Well, you know, Piller wrote a book about the writing of
Which
that
I've never
film.
read. I've only read some of it.
Yeah,
I really need
it's
to.
worth it. It's interesting to see how
Fade
the
in.
project.
It's like a killer's confession.
yeah, kind
Kinda.
of.
It's
Yeah.
like the Iceman.
You just
Yeah,
no,
exactly.
you see how all his ideas got chipped away at. I mean, and he's not making excuses
That's freaking
either. But
heartbreaking, though, man. That's the kind of stuff you read that you're like, yeah, no. Do I want to be a screenwriter?
Yeah.
When you read stories like that,
Yeah,
like
that's why I haven't
if you're
read it.
even at the you know at that point he's probably at the top of his game as a TV guy.
Yeah.
And you still get the shit taken
Yeah.
away from you. It's
Yeah.
just oh man.
Yeah.
But on that happy note,
yeah, well, that's it. So goodbye,
Jim,
Los
thank
Angeles.
you again for podcasting with us.
thank
This
the
is
thank
pretty
the
fucking awesome.
the USS Stax here that we've been flying around in.
USS Ford. What's
Ford Focus.
the Ford Focus?
That's right.
It's a beautiful ship.
The class 2007.
We got a freighter.
That's right.
And on that note, we'll see you all on Gervais Island.